princess. The door was open again. Pump up the tires. Driving experience would be much better. Barbecue. Kamaz and Ural. So people are probably going to hate me for that, but compared to the Ural, the Kamaz is a complete princess. As you saw in my last video where we did the cold start at minus 30 degrees, it didn't start up very easily. Well, today the temperature is around minus 9, so it should start easily, but let's make the startup process as easy as possible. So say hello to my little friend. So the trucks are not the only thing that we need to refuel today. Let me get some diesel. Well, the reason that it's not probably getting fuel is also that it is a bit tilted right now. So I need to get that straightened up and then we can turn it back on. So let's try starting it up again. Perfect. It has been over a month since our last video where we started up the Kamaz, and I haven't touched the truck in the meantime. And I think it has been almost like maybe 4 or 5 months that I last moved this truck. But I believe right now we can leave the Kamaz be. Let's let the heater blower do its thing. And now we're going to move up to the Ural. Let's see how it goes there. Now when earlier I called the Kamaz a princess, well, the Ural is a street dog. It's going to take all your money, and to even speak to the Ural, you need to have at least 40 liters of fuel with you. The fuel economy on this beast is around 1 liter per 1 kilometer. So this is the fuel tank of the Ural. I think it was about 280 liters capacity. And today, even though it is minus 8 degrees, you can see that the sun is so warm that the snow is already melting a bit. Now let's say hello to the Ural. And to do that, we're going to put that 40 liters of fuel inside this enormous fuel tank. That's 20. It's crazy how much fuel goes into this tank. And it's a petrol. And there you go, that's 40 liters into this huge tank. We haven't started up the Ural for, I believe it's almost 6 months now. So for 6 months this truck has been standing in its place. And it has been gathering a lot of snow. So what we need to do now is to get rid of all the snow on the bonnet, and then we can open the bonnet, pump up the fuel and start up the truck. Let's see how it goes. And I'm really sorry guys, I still haven't gotten myself a broom to get rid of the snow. I think that bonnet is great for a little snow angel. Yeah. So let's clean it up. I think that's good enough. Let's see if we can get the bonnet open or not. Perfect. So with this one, we're going to pump up the fuel and just turn the key. And that's it. So a fun fact about the Ural. The ZIL 131 and the Ural petrol, they share the same engine. They're both V8. And both of them actually have a preheater system for the engine. The fuel tank is over here. There is a pump, I believe it's a pump over here. And this is the switch to turn it on. And when you turn it on, it blows hot gases onto the oil pan and heats up the engine oil. But right now, we're not going to use it. So a little fun experiment here as well. This is the engine oil that I have inside the Ural right now. Let's see how it flows at -8 degrees. And it's flowing quite nicely. Now let's open up the door, get inside and start, and let's try to start it up. So this is what you can see on the driver's seat of the Ural. There are a lot of different gauges. But now let's start it up. No preheating, standing for 6 months. Let's see how it goes. I think there's an issue with the fuel. Let's try pumping it up again. Let's see if that helps. I think it's not getting any fuel, but there is one little simple trick. So you pour fuel straight into the cylinders and let's see if it starts up then. So what we are going to do now is we're going to remove the air filter cover. The air filter on the Ural, it works using oil. So you always need to check that there is oil in the air filter. So this is the air filter. And now from here we can put fuel straight into the cylinders. And if we have spark, then it should just fire up immediately. Let's try again. We know now that it's not getting enough fuel. Let's try pumping it a bit and see if it helps. So let's try again. Quite interesting because it was already running quite nice, and now again it seems as if it's not getting enough fuel. But you know, with the ZIL and the Ural, the most common problems with them are that there is not enough fuel coming into the engine. I'm pretty sure I do not have to open the bonnet up again, but let's see. Ural, they sound wonderful. But now let's get rid of the fuel canisters and let's drive to the Kamaz and see how it's doing right now. Now the Ural is here. Let's see if the Kamaz fires up as well. So what I did in the background was that I put some cardboard on top of the Kamaz engine. That makes sure that the heat doesn't escape that easily. I'm not sure that if it helped or not, but I think it's better than nothing. So with the Kamaz as usual, let's lift the cabin, pump up the diesel, and then we'll try to start it. Let's see how it goes. And now all we have to do is get in the cabin and turn the key. Let's hope the door opens. That was much easier than last time. It's me with my battery issues again. Luckily nothing serious here. I just had disconnected one cable. So if with the Ural we had maybe 4 to 5 tries before we started it up. This is the second try with the Kamaz. Let's see how it goes. So the Kamaz started up real easily compared to the Ural. And I call this one a princess. Well, I guess with these trucks it's the same as with the ladies. If you put some effort into it, there is a higher chance that they will like you. So next time with the Ural, maybe it also needs a bit more love before I try starting it up. But anyway, now let's let the Kamaz run a bit. Let's turn on the Ural again. Let's let them warm up, and then it's time to go for a little drive. Now there can only be one more issue that is going to stop us today. And it is the brakes of the Kamaz. Because the Kamaz, the brakes use air to operate the brake system. And if the air lines are frozen with water, the truck will not move. But right now we need to wait a bit for the air pressure to get up. And then we can try if the Kamaz moves today or not. If it moves, the Kamaz is clearly the winner today. But let's see, the Ural still has a chance. Now we're back at the Kamaz. I let it run for about 10 minutes, and when I came back in 10 minutes, the whole truck was up in smoke. Apparently one of the fuel lines had broken a bit, so diesel was splashing all over the engine. And when I came back, I stopped the truck and immediately raised up the cabin and pretty much tried to take away as much diesel as possible so it wouldn't catch on fire. But as you can see on this engine, it is there's a lot of diesel on it now, and there's a lot of cleaning to be done. So before starting up the Kamaz again next time, I'm probably going to have to check what is wrong with the fuel system. Why is it spraying diesel on top of the engine? But before I can do that, we have to wait for a warmer weather. Because when you start doing things in the cold, there's a high probability that instead of fixing something, you're actually going to break it. So I guess the Kamaz remains to be a princess. And now I'm going to show you a truck that always starts up, and the truck that I love the most. So moving on. Now here is a truck that always fires up. The ZIL 131. I haven't started it for about 2 weeks now. So let's see how it fires up. But first things first, let's pump up the fuel. Now this ZIL is going to show us how a real Soviet truck should start up. This ZIL always starts up so easily and the engine runs so smooth. I really like the ZIL. Now when both trucks are running, let's take them for a little drive. I'm sorry the Kamaz is going to have to miss out on this one. Now welcome to the inside of the cabin of the Ural. On this one, the steering wheel is a bit cracked, so it's really easy to hurt your arms, so that's why I have to wear driving gloves. But let's go for a little drive. I'm only driving with the rear wheels at the moment because it was quite difficult to get started. But right now we're moving, and yeah, in second gear. And now in third. But yeah, inside of the cabin of the Ural, there's a lot of noise and vibration. But other than that, when driving off-road, nothing replaces the Ural. And my door is open. Much better. 7-liter V8 petrol. Who would put a 7-liter V8 petrol on a truck? Only the Soviets. And the reason why they did that is because the petrol engine, it fires up much better in the cold, and of course it is much easier to build and maintain compared to the diesel engine. So here are the two trucks that were supposed to win the Third World War, the Ural and the ZIL. Well, anyway, we have been driving just a bit, and one of the tires of the Ural is quite flat compared to the others. So let's try using the system of the Ural to pump up the tires. Now I'm going to get into the truck, and then the tire should pump itself up. Let's see if it works. So we should be pumping now. Of course it's going to take a bit time, so let's wait a bit and see if it gets air in it or not. I think that did it. The tire is looking much better now. So let's close off the valve, and then we can keep driving. Perfect. Compared to the ZIL, driving to Ural is a completely different experience. The engine is more powerful, but this is also the only good thing when driving to Ural. Because, I don't know why, but it seems to me that the ZIL is much softer to drive. But also, you know, in the back of the ZIL we have the camper, but this Ural is just a frame. My door was open again. And the door tends to open all the time, so I don't know what's up with that. But you know, still, it's quite an experience to drive both of them, whether you're driving the Ural or the ZIL. But that can also be explained by the fact that, you know, the Ural has been standing for almost 6 months now. So the tires themselves also, the place where the tires touch the ground, they're a bit, you know, they're not round anymore, but they're smashed in. So if I would drive to Ural for about maybe 30 minutes straight, then the driving experience would be much better compared to what I'm having right now. But other than that, it's fascinating that after 6 months of standing, the Ural started quite easily. And the only problem that it had was that the fuel didn't want to come up the fuel lines. But this was easily fixed when I just poured the petrol straight into the cylinders. And as you saw earlier, the Ural just fired up. Driving is much better. There is much less jumping around compared to when you're at higher speeds. We're going about 10 kilometers an hour right now. So this brings us to the end of today's video. We started today at around 11 at lunch, and now it's already 5 o'clock. So all these preparations took us much longer than expected. And now it is getting dark outside, which means that our cameras or the video quality is not going to be what I would like it to be. But hopefully you still enjoyed today's video. So if you like this video, leave a like, hype the video, comment what you like the most, and as always, don't forget to subscribe. Everything you do helps my channel a lot. So let's say thank you to the Ural and thank you to the ZIL, and in the next one hopefully we can take them for a longer drive. And also the Kamaz, let's hope we can take it for a winter spin at one point, but right now it seems that the Kamaz is going to be waiting for the spring for now. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Now the day is coming to an end, and the boys are going to have a little barbecue. Let's wait for the wood to burn, and then we'll put the meats on. I seasoned it myself this morning.